This week on Audio Nashville.
That's one of the big benefits from a writer's night, because you're going to meet these people, and when you're here, you're going to start growing with that circle of people.
Don McNatt goes out to Commodores to talk to Debi Champion, the host of one of the most successful writers' nights in Music City. I'm your host, Marie McDonald. Hi, and thank you for joining us for Audio Nashville. The Writers' Night is an event somewhat unique to Nashville. One of Nashville's best Writers' Nights is hosted by our guest this week, Debi Champion. Debi has appeared with such artists as Spyro Gyra, Kris Kristopherson Suzi Boggus, Marshall Tucker Band, Ronnie Milsap, and many others. She's also toured as a backup vocalist with the Miami Dolphins, Tim Foley, and sang with the Miami Symphony. At one of Debi's Writers' Nights, you'll hear songwriters ranging from some of Nashville's biggest hit writers, as well as some writers just getting started. Don McNatt sat down with Debi at one of her more recent Writers' Nights.
I'm Don McNatt for Audio Nashville. We're sitting outside of the Commodore Lounge here, where a Writers' Night is being hosted by Debi Champion as usual. Writers' Nights are a real Nashville tradition, and if you talk very much about that tradition and what has gone on here in quite a while, one of the names that's going to come up is Debi Champion. So we appreciate you honoring us with saying a few words to us. I'm going to ask you some things that I think that you know that a lot of people don't know nearly as well as you do, because you are the pro here at this, and everybody knows that and respects that. If you're coming to Nashville and you want to play a Writers' Night, what's the best way to approach that?
You do your homework, find a listing of all the Writers' Nights, contact each host, because each host does it differently, and find out what the requirements are, how you can get in. Now, some will accept CDs. Now, me personally, I prefer live auditions. First time they play, come in, sign up before 9 o'clock. Writers' Night starts at 6. Sign up anytime before 9, and you play the last round of the night. But I'm done by 11:30, so it's not really late on anybody. Then if they pass that audition, then they get scheduled.
Well, I know when I used to come to Nashville, that was a great schedule, I thought, because it also gave me the opportunity to hear all the other writers that are going to play.
And that's one of the big benefits from a Writers' Night, because you're going to meet these people, and when you're here, you're going to start growing with that circle of people. Like when you come in, the people you first met, they're still your good friends, aren't they?
Well, sure, and a lot of people here that are great writers came from somewhere else, but because they all came here, there's a huge number of terrific writers to pay attention to.
Oh, there's so many that probably people will never hear unless you do come to Nashville. That's another thing that only Nashville has. There's so much talent. I go through, I'd say around 25, 30 writers a night, and it always amazes me. I mean, each night's different, you get different writers, and it's always good. Every night's different.
Well, I think something else that we're amazed at sometimes is the caliber of writers that are loyal to you, which is why you were one of the most prominent writers hosts in Nashville. Why do you think that is? Why do you think these guys are hanging in there with you after all these years and all their hits? They still want to come and play your nights.
I don't know. I've met a lot of great people, and I don't know what to be. Each Writers' Night is different, and people have to find what fits them, what works for them, where they feel more comfortable. I mean, as a Writers' Night host, I didn't move here to do this. I'm a songwriter too, but God put me here, and so I try to make everybody have a good experience. You're in Nashville. It's your first time playing in Nashville. I remember my first time. Oh man, I was scared to death. James was about a year old, and I went out and played, and I didn't know what to do. It's just, you don't know anybody. You sit there and you get up there and you're terrified. So, you try to give them a comfortable environment. They hear the other people, and you get so motivated. Usually they'll come and play, then they'll come back next time they've written all these new songs, from the experience.
And a lot of these people are comfortable with each other because this is a place that they gather.
I try to get that camaraderie. That's why I have everybody get here early, and I have all writers in by 9 o'clock, because that does give each other a support system, which is very important in this town.
It is. Now, I don't want to pass over too quickly that you mentioned a minute ago that you're a songwriter, because I'm going to suggest that I think that's also another element that makes you one of the successful hosts in town. When I see the host that I know the other writers respect them as songwriters in that community, that makes a lot of difference. You show up for the people that are your peers.
Just where you feel comfortable, where feel like the music comes through you.
I'm gonna ask you just to name just a few of the people who kind of come around here regularly now. That if people are in a different location, maybe even out of town, would be really interested to know their names and watch for them as songwriters.
You mean, now are you talking about people that's made it, or like?
Well, I'm talking about both. I'm thinking that you probably have a very good idea of not only the great hit writers that play here regularly, but some of the people who are liable to be.
Well, there's a lot of them. I mean, it'd be hard to sit here and think of them all. I mean, like people that has played the Writers' Night and made it are people like Trent Thomason, Michael Peterson, Paul Brandt used to play. Well, there's a lot of them. I think of
Tony Lane.
Tony Lane. That's one that should be an artist.
I've seen Jeffrey Steele in this room.
Jeffrey Steele. There was a lot of like hit writers. There's Chris Wallen, Craig Mundy, Don Wayne, Jimmy Payne, Glenn Tubb. I mean, this list. I mean, like tonight we've got, Alan O'Day. Then we've got Karen Kelly from Wolf. Then we got Dave Gibson. And then Boomer Castleman after that, and these are all wonderful writers. But Boomer's a good example of that. Somebody's an exceptionally hit writer, wonderfully talented person, featured in Guitar Player magazine. But unless you're here in Nashville, you don't hear him.
But you do hear him here.
Yes, you do. Get an hour of him tonight.
and so what I'm hoping is that we're painting a little bit of a picture of a particular event that is a little bit unique to Nashville, and that is a Nashville Writers' Night, and we're trying to give a little peep into that by talking to one of the hosts that is the most well known around here for doing it the way Nashvillians and Nashville writers would consider doing it right. Well, this is the other thing that I wanted to mention, and that is that I'm aware that one of the ways you know that somebody has been in Nashville and been playing these nights for a while is that they seem to finally kind of catch on to what the etiquette is after a while. And if you're coming from out of town and you'd kind of like to get a jump start on that and know what is the behavior that's going to work for me so that these people will want to work with me and maybe hear my song, what should they be thinking about?
Well, I would say when you're coming into Writers' Night, be tuned, first of all, ready to go. Be prepared to play up-tempo or slow. Don't have all of one or the other. Keep your songs 3 to 3.5 minutes. If somebody does this, you've heard a slow or too slow in front of you, do something up-tempo. You can only handle, so many slow ones. And, when you're called you up there, go right up there. Don't lolly around because that's time killed. And that snowballs for the host at the end of the night when she's 30 minutes, an hour late.
Now, in Nashville, we do something that is a little unusual in some other places that we call rounds, which means that there's going to be 3 or 4, sometimes more writers on the stage at one time, even though they're going to take turns playing.
And that's another great way to network, to get to know somebody. It's very rewarding for me. You got 3 people up and around, and they don't know it. They've never met each other before. And then they come back 2 weeks later and written a song together.
But as they go to various writers' nights, they do kind of develop an etiquette up there, too.
Yes, this is true.
I mean,
got to know when to play, when not to play. Get permission first, because some people like to jam. It don't bother, but some people it does bother. Especially if somebody's just learned this song, they don't really sure. They got somebody playing through their melodies and stuff. That gets annoying. You start trying to make it work with them instead of, letting the music come through you what it was supposed to be. So always have permission for that.
Well, so the last little piece of etiquette that I want to ask you about kind of relates to the first question, because here again, I remember when I was in Los Angeles and I was going to come to Nashville, and I really would like to have known what I found out when I got here, and I guess that's why I came. But some of that was, how does all this work? And if somebody's out of town and they would love to come and play a Nashville Writers' Night, whether it's one of your nights or one of the other hosts.
That's great exposure, great experience for them, too.
And be prepared to play what we call a round here.
Yes, you'll be playing. That's where you're up with 2 or 3 other people, and you take turns. One will do one, somebody else will do one, and you just rotate around. Okay. Different writers' nights have different things. Another thing I would like to say is writers, be sure to support the bar that the writers' night is at. Now, if you're coming into town, try to support that place. Don't try to hit 3 in one night because you're not there for just yourself. You're there to try to network, to get to know people, learn from it. Just sitting and listening, you learn a lot. As far as writing, lyric, you'll start hearing what works, what doesn't work.
That's right. And if you go to three places in a night, you'll see more people, but you won't get to know any more people than you will if you're in one place and you really spend some time with somebody.
Yeah, because usually most of them, like, if you run in, play, run out, pretty much all you've got to know is yourself.
Yeah. Well, thanks again for giving us these few minutes and for some information that I think people will want to know. I'm Don McNatt for Audio Nashville.
Debi Champion hosts the Writers' Night Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday each week at the Commodore Sports Bar and Grill in Nashville. She also does demo session work, backup vocals for different artists, and writes her own music. Debi's songs have been featured on HBO, Showtime, and other TV spots. Debi's CD, Just Me and My Guitar, features songs she has co-written with friends. You can hear her live at the Commodore, the Bluebird, and at special events. For more information about Debi, visit our website at audionashville.com. Next week on Audio Nashville.
You know, if they have this gear, then it's going to come out good. It isn't about the gear, it's about the commitment of the heart.
Spend some time with one of Nashville's top demo producers, Denny Martin, as he shares some tips that help demystify the demo process. For more information about the show or to listen to previous shows, visit our website, audionashville.com, or email us at info@audionashville.com. Stop by and leave questions or comments for us or our guests. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks for listening.